For those who are here, well, welcome to the Sushi Forum. Every Thursday, we sit here for an hour and we try to be open. So anybody that have any questions or would like to discuss anything going on currently with the protocol, they're welcome to come. Today we got AG from DWF Labs here to talk about a proposal that they put up on the forum. And I guess I'll just go ahead and I'll let you guys explain to us what it's all about.
Hey, Andre, how you doing?
Yeah. Hello, guys. Yeah. Oh, good.
Awesome.
You?
Can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So, Zach, maybe go ahead and link their proposal in the AMA text channel so that people can reference what we're talking about here. But yeah, I think we want to give Andre, the floor to talk about the proposal, what DWF Labs is all about, what they want to do with this partnership with Sushi, and then just kind of field any questions or have a general discussion around the proposal as it moves through the governance process. So Andre, maybe you want to give some background about, I don't know, yourself and DWF Labs, how you guys approach the market. Yeah.
Thank you for this AMA session. I'm Andre. I am the co-founder of DWF Labs and also DWF. We started in 2018 as a DWF, as a prop trading company on crypto space. Started with very small team and prop capital, and grew up within the past 5 years from like friends and family team to the global company with investment arm, with HFT arm, and with market making arms. For now, we do trading on all the centralized markets and also on a couple of decentralized exchanges, and we are going to integrate Sushi Swap as well. We do trading on spot, perps, options, and everything. Then our proposal and our intention to work with Sushi that is to provide liquidity solutions for Sushi coin across the exchanges, including spot and derivative markets. And at the same time, we would like to contribute our prop liquidity to Sushi itself and put like 1.2, if I remember correctly, or 1.6 million USD dollars worth in Sushi Swap pools in order to improve liquidity in them. At the same time, we would like to integrate Sushi as a trading venue and trade our prop strategies on Sushi and increase our market share to 10% of Sushi markets within 6 months. It's kind of like this. Regarding my background and the background of my partners and the company, we are from traditional markets. I used to trade stocks from 2014, and my partners, they are former quants. Not former, they're quants, but they started their journey on traditional markets in HFT company in 2012. And yeah, we're a technology company. We have no investors. We have no external funds. Everything that we have, it's earned by trading. Yeah, it's like we're traders and provide trading expertise to our partners. Yeah, kind of like this.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think one of the things that's really interesting to me is the news cycle's somewhat been dominated by you guys, and I think recently you took an alignment with Algorand. Yeah.
Conflux.
Conflux. I've talked with their team as a possible network integration partner into the Sushi DEX. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I think that the proposal seems interesting to me is just since we've launched V3, we're on over 20 networks now, soon to be more than 30. So it's like the largest deployment of concentrated liquidity across the entire industry. But right, how do you get activity on those networks attractive? Because liquidity can be thin on newer networks, whether they've launched, whether they've just been integrated, et cetera. And it's like having partners like DWF involved in making those markets, I think, is really interesting and helps provide a lot of utility for people swapping on the deck. So for me, that's one of the highest value props of the proposal, just getting more liquidity into our V3 deployment and scaling it up, because that's really the use case. The main USP of a DEX is swapping, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. Maybe you can talk about any of the details, or maybe Zap or Nick or anyone in the chat has some questions for you.
Yeah.
You guys are based out of Singapore, right?
We based not only Singapore. We have our kind of Asian headquarters in Singapore. We have our offices in Singapore. We have office in Hong Kong, in Seoul, and opening office in Japan and Tokyo. We have an office in Dubai and in Zug, Switzerland.
Wow.
We are kind of globe, but in terms of business development, we're mostly oriented on in Asia, because originally we have like a lot of connections there since it's prop trading, but now we're developing like global markets activity. Yeah.
Got it. What's the what's like the thesis for the fund going forward in terms of like the partnerships that you've brought into your I guess let's just call it your portfolio over the last 6 months? Because I've noticed a whole myriad of different I mean, not all of them are traditional investments. Some of them are strategic partnerships, so on and so forth. But are you trying to kind of distribute your brand more into all of crypto and help scale up? Or yeah, maybe you can talk about the thesis a little bit more.
Yeah, the thesis is like this. We have a few angles for investments. We have our venture team, which does only venture investments for projects that are not listed yet or on a very, very early stage, and we provide like incubation services. In this case, we support the teams completely with marketing, with negotiations with counterparties on the crypto market, with partnerships, etc. Then we have a direction which works with secondary market, let's say with coins and products that are established already. And then we have, well, we started, you're right, we started like very aggressively, because when we need to build portfolio, we need to have some more coins in our portfolio, right? In order to be able to do some business development among our portfolio companies. Now we have more than 200 coins in our portfolio, and we started approaching our new partners more carefully and more strategically. Let's say if we cooperate with, let's say, Sushi or with another trading venues, right, that we did, for example, with Quick Swap, Quick Perps, like a few days ago, right? We feel that, okay, we joined this cooperation because we can provide a lot more value using our skills, trading, liquidity, etc. We join it now. There's good market conditions, and if we do our job nicely, we have like nice upside in order to make money for us, and also it will be beneficial for a project to grow up. The same to investments, right? It's all, no, on the market. Not only there is not only DWF Labs on the market, right? There are some competitors, right? And we need to compete. And here, and we win this competition, right? And here, frankly, I'm not biased. We are not biased by some market practices, right? We just feel that we need to provide as much as we can to our potential partners, right? And let's say if we want to win some deals, right? And if a project needs some money, we are more than happy to invest, right? If we feel that project is proper, or we can accept such a risk. Of course, we have some venture investments when we deploy money and we were ready to lose this money because we expected like super large upside. this is investment business, right? But in general, we try to align our efforts with layer 1, layer 2 protocols in order to reach as many as we can new projects, and also trading venues, decentralize it and centralize it in order to have as much as we can our presence on trading venues. Yeah, kind of like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, I think. Yeah, I understand it very clearly. I think maybe it's a good point to just reiterate the general disclaimer of anything that we talk about in these AMAs and Twitter spaces. It's not financial advice.
Yes.
Right. We're not advocating for any one practice or anything for people to act on this. It's just a discussion about, in this instance, how this one entity approaches the market and strategic partnership. So
yeah,
but Andre, appreciate that. Maybe someone else has questions for you. Zap.
Yeah, I had a couple, but they're all more geared towards like the finer details here in this proposal that you have. Like the first one, for example, for like the 1.6 million that you're looking to seed for liquidity, I see you have a bunch of pairs here listed out. Was there like only one chain that you're going like? Was it primarily going to be like Ethereum, or are you going to like put this all through different chains and different networks on the market?
It depends on your need, right? If you this is like initial liquidity that we are ready to provide to Sushi, right? If you tell us that let's provide this to Ethereum, we will put it on the Ethereum chain. If you need us to provide it on the different chains, we will split it among different chains. It's just it's up to you. Which is better for Sushi, we will do the same.
Right. Yeah, because we don't want to fragment this up too much. Also,
I think the way I'm just personally think about it, given the route processor development and the aggregation that we've built in to the stack, right? Is like, where does that liquidity best serve us growing routes that maybe we're in the route for the swap, we're seeing it maybe tag another pool elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
So bringing that liquidity into the fold so that we can bring more of those aggregated routes or pools into that route on Sushi. And it's not just people staying on brand and being served by the aggregation, but also LPs at Sushi getting more of the benefit. So I would envision maybe we're deploying that in Arbitrum, whether it's stable pairs or ETH or something like that, right? Maybe it's ARB pairs so that we can get more native ARB project exposure or liquidity exposure. But yeah, I think that's definitely up for discussion.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Anyway, for now, ARB and ETH, they have the biggest market share in terms of trading volume, right?
Right.
And, active traders on DeFi. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry, Zap. What was your other question? I cut you off.
Oh no. So like the next question I would have also is just going down the line here. Then you have your trading activities right here, right? So when you say like 3% within 3 months, you're talking about like total volume throughout like the whole exchange being attributed to your pools that you seeded liquidity into. I'm just a little confused on that.
Yeah. Sorry, maybe I was not so clear in the proposal. Yeah. It is about the whole exchange. Let's say if the whole exchange is like 100 mil USD trading volume daily, we will trade this 3 mil of this.
Okay.
It is not only about pairs that we provide liquidity, but the whole exchange, because trading is a bit different.
All right. Yeah. That makes more sense. And then over here, I also see that like the Binance USDT and USD. I'm not quite sure what the OKX pair is that like a pairing in the exchange, or is that like the SEX, like the
Yeah,
centralized
this is
exchange?
centralized exchanges. This is added liquidity to Sushi coin on centralized exchanges. Let's say you have a certain level of liquidity on Binance now on spot market, for example, right? Let's say 100K, right? And then if we join it, we add the size of liquidity that we mentioned in the proposal to this 100K, and it will be like, let's say 200K minus 2%, for example, and plus 2%. Yeah.
Okay.
It is about more liquid markets on centralized exchanges. Yeah. We took this tool because they held the most market share in terms of trading volume of Sushi coin. Yeah.
All right. So you're using this loan of 2 mil that you're wanting for, like, you're going to use a part of that for seeding into there as well.
Yeah, we provide our USDT for minus 2%, and we will use this loan to provide liquidity for plus 2%. Yeah.
And then a call option buy on it.
Yeah, and call option. This is like our incentive for our work. If we do everything nicer, right, this call option makes sense. If we don't do things nicely, right, or the market is not great, the things are not make too much sense for us, right? Because we would look at least 1.6 mil plus liquidity on success, but this loan, it is like around half a mil, which is quite smaller than funds that we need to provide to get it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
There was something you asked in there, Zap. I'm just drawing a blank, but I had an answer for it.
My questions were not very well phrased because I was kind of reading through this, and like I appreciate the clarification on those points there. And so I see that basically, so the day I'm receiving the loan, let's just say like Sushi's $1, right? When we do this loan.
Yeah.
So you're gonna buy a third of it when it's $1.25, the second third when it's $1.75, and the third when it's $2. That's what I'm getting out of that. Okay.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah. Sometimes I have a hard time conceptualizing, like call options and strike prices and stuff like that. That really helps.
That's good to ask questions, man.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, you got anything?
Oh, sorry, guys. I'm in the middle of several items, so I'm just listening right now.
Oh, you're good, man.
Do we have any text questions that popped up? Let's see. Oh no, just your post. Okay. I don't really have any more questions for you, Andre. I don't want to keep you on too long. I know it's been about 30 minutes now, but maybe any last points if you have any. If not, I think maybe we're good. We can, post this to the community and keep the conversation going, and just keep getting feedback until the next stage in the governance process. Yeah,
maybe it makes sense because people could listen to this AMA in YouTube, right? And maybe they would have questions and ask for these questions, and I will reply.
Yeah, I think it's been really helpful. Awesome. Well, appreciate you coming on today. Let you have the rest of your day back now. Appreciate the information and you joining the AMA. And if anyone has any questions about this proposal, whether or not you're listening to this later on YouTube or you're in the audience now and want to ask questions later, there's a forum post that Zap's linked that you can check out. Please interact with that. Andre's available to answer questions on the forum.
Yep.
Awesome.
I agree. Thank you, guys. Thank you for everyone who joined the call, and thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. All right. Take care, Andre.
Thank you. Hey, ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you, man.
All right. So what's the next? I know we've got.
What I was gonna well, I was in the middle of arranging. We do have the Plasma Labs one for like sushi concentrate liquidity
Mhm.
pools in a general sense. An active liquidity managing application more or less.
Yeah, I was wondering, is this like our steer partnership? I read through this when they first posted it very briefly. But yeah, maybe we get them on, or did they join? I don't think they joined, did they?
No, not today.
Okay.
We'll
Maybe
do
next
like
week
the
then.
isolated Twitter Spaces for that. I reached out to them in
Okay.
Telegram. But I'm just put it in there because it's a cool idea. I really like the
Yeah,
idea.
I'm definitely want to hear more about it. We're pretty deep in the weeds with steer. You know, I don't want to front run any marketing or news, but we have a pretty exciting feature set coming out that is powered by them. That's directly integrated into the Sushi front end. So
Yeah, I do see that kind of overlaps with a part of this that they're offering, the farming staking protocol extension that pretty much would fill that niche already.
yeah, I mean, let's get them on. Let's chat with them. Whether it's a Twitter Space next week sometime or another AMA. Like I said in our voice lounge chat earlier, I plan to be on these more now that we've kind of hit some key milestones in the engineering roadmap, and we're going to have a lot of stuff coming out. I think it makes sense to be on here talking about this and getting people informed on what we've been doing. We've had a couple of really, one very key strategic hire for our marketing department that I think people be excited to know about. Yeah.
Coming soon. Yeah. I got them, and there's another one Nini hit me up for, another AMA we can have next week.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that, you know, we definitely want to chat about officially on the AMA stage is the proposal for Gresham International to represent the Sushi DAO. The work that we had done with
Let me grab that.
Fenwick, you know, as we got deeper in the weeds and kind of had gotten through that process, we found a more suitable internationally distributed DAO model that they weren't familiar with and hadn't really done a lot of work with, that is pretty much pioneered and put together by Gresham. I put an overview of that together in the proposal to engage with them officially and have them execute on that. But yeah, Gresham comes highly recommended by some very big firms like Fenwick. They've actually done and been co-counsel with Fenwick on some large suits and worked with like Linklaters, Morrison Cohen, which is who we engaged for the legal matters in the US. Yeah, but I think people should definitely go check that out. That's a proposal that I'd like to get more feedback on and answer any questions because, you know, we don't want to take a 9-month process like we did before to engage them to get the DAO up to speed on the entity structure.
Well, how far? Because I see you just got the general gist going on here. For like the finer details, like, are those things that we should pretty much leave? Like, you know, let legal deal with it, and then when they say, "Hey, yeah, go ahead and talk about it, go for it," or
You know, yeah, those are. I mean, that's a really good question because, like, what is the responsibility of the ops team, the DAO? What level of transparency needs to happen for people to feel engaged? All of these things. I mean, these are kind of like fluid questions and fluid answers. And it's like, I think from my side, because I view a lot of this stuff as operational, and there is a DAO mandate for operations to take on certain roles, that the DAO, and I'm just kind of following industry, like loosely established industry standards from like large DAOs, right? Like Lido and others, right? They keep things like tokenomics and asset allocation focused on the DAO, and operational stuff is mandated to the operations team, and they handle it, right? And then the overviews and summaries of these processes are presented either in a proposal or a recap or an executed bullet point list, right? So that's how I think of it. I know that's like not a direct answer, but you definitely need to.
Questions up. It sounded legal, and I can give you an opinion.
Okay.
Well, what was it? I mean, what was the exact question here? I'll give
It
you.
was because I mean, this is all like, oh, I don't know. It's like a common sense like reading, right? Like, it's all the reasoning why we would go and change, but like, as far as, or sorry, I'm sorry, like, you know what I'm saying? Where this is like rather like surface level, and like what we're doing actually as a DAO, like where we're basing ourselves or this or that, right? Like that's stuff that we would just
So
figure
there's a
out.
couple. Yeah, I mean, we have to retain legal counsel for questions like that because there are
Right.
legal requirements, and we have to trust that legal counsel, and this is not legal advice, this is my experience. You have to trust that legal counsel that you've retained is going to provide you with the correct advice. There are many reasons that you might change the counsel. There are a variety of reasons, and it can be simply a result of, you didn't have a great working relationship, or you had a great working relationship, they don't do this type of thing, a lawyer got sick. It's like a lot of other services, right? But opining on those things, if it might lead into the legal recommendations that they're giving a protocol or a person, those kinds of things should definitely remain quiet, right? Because there are legal strategies for what you don't go and talk about your divorce openly somewhere that may then come back and somebody then gets to testify against you. So if it has to do with the actual legal considerations, strategy, substance of legal advice, those things really, even for DAO and open protocol, those things should remain kind of within the attorney-client privilege, and should kind of remain not visible for people to say, to discuss to a certain extent. If we're approving hefty financial outlays for some reason, probably that needs to be voted on. As to why and reasons for changing counsel, it really could be a wide variety of things, and it's really not substantive or necessary to discuss it. But I mean, I think that it's okay to discuss. We found something like better representation, or somebody who is more familiar with the types of organizations or entities that we are looking to build. That type of thing is where you can comment. But beyond that, you're starting to edge into what legal advice they're giving you, and if they feel comfortable coming on and discussing with the DAO, that's who I would leave it to.
Yeah, that's pretty much a perfect answer.
Mm. Yeah, I don't like legalese. I don't speak it.
I don't know of anyone that necessarily likes the monotony or the procedural. Um, well, some people do, I guess, but I think for the business side of things, like the procedural and bureaucratic processes of law, they're I mean, a lot of stuff that's even enshrined in case law or is law is subjective and open to interpretation. And to Nick's point, I think with Gresham, what I've found and what I've been recommended from others about them and their services is that they have the specific skill set to make the DAO entity structure more robust, more global, and better equipped to go forward with the vision of this product, right? And what the DAO has mandated that the team build.
Which is the same as making a buyer decision, a buyer of services.
Right.
Somebody has indicated, we've gotten recommendations that they may be more appropriate or have more breadth of service and knowledge in this particular area. Then it's a decision on a service provider, essentially.
Correct, yeah. And I think the good thing about this is that the budget that was approved for Fenwick, there was a significant portion of it that remained. And so there at this time isn't a new budgetary request for engaging with Gresham. So yeah, no budgetary need at this time with this proposal. So it's more of just a provider switch.
Do.
We linked that. Maybe we should link that.
Yeah, I linked it in the. Now they have like a new place for the AMA stage questions. It's like, yeah, like when you're on the stage on the right, there's like a little chat bubble that will like open up a side panel.
Yeah.
It was messing with me for a while because everybody started going there instead of using the other channel.
I'll just post it there so there's some continuity as well in the main text channel.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
So
yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
So this is going to require a full DAO vote to switch over to these guys, huh?
To execute on the repurposing and provider switch to execute their DAO structure, yes. We've been using them as co-counsel for like contracts and stuff like that for the last few weeks after we, disengaged from Fenwick fully. But yeah, to do that work, that's what this proposal's about. And it definitely needs to go through governance. People should have a voice and they should have insight into these things.
Goose, I see you lurking in there. How you doing? You got anything? I'm gonna yoink you up here against your will.
There we go. There we are. What's going on, fellas?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. If I don't really have much else to talk about in regards, like I don't really have any questions as far as like the legal stuff past that point. I don't know if like you had any input or anything.
Not really like on my own. I mean, I was carefully kind of listening to what y'all were talking about there, but yeah, I mean, just really the some points that you like noted just to like get clarity on is fine. I mean, I was just kind of following it from the side. I let the I don't know, I'm just kind of taking it in. I know everyone's got everyone's best interests at heart and stuff, and so if they think Gresham's the way, I'm here to support.
Right on, right on. Let's touch on the Abra proposal, because I know that there was an AMA a couple of weeks ago, and Romy came on and was speaking about the proposal. I'll just touch on it briefly. I think if you want to link that, Zap, that's fine. It's linked above from the last AMA, it looks like, so maybe not. But yeah, I mean, Abra is one of the largest TVL providers within Bento Box. They've been on a recovery arc, if you will, the last several months, and doing some really good work. We've been exploring on the engineering side within Sushi how to pilot this whitelisted strategy provider process within Bento Box, and I think we're pretty close. I mean, some of it, I think long term, if we're going to open this up to anyone where it's like a urine style kind of vault system, and anyone can provide strategies, that there are certain safeguards that need to be implemented, components of full on-chain governance that need to occur. I think that the Magi proposal, which is the governance part of our tokenomics, our upcoming tokenomics proposal, touches on the types of voting mechanisms we'll need to make sure that there are those safeguards. So I think that we're looking forward to continuing down this path with kind of further open sourcing Bento Box, but in a safe and manageable way. And the Abra proposal looks really interesting as a first.
That was yeah, my concerns with that were just like I didn't like with the route processor exploit like happening kind of around the time that we were talking about that the first time. I'm like sitting here paranoid thinking like what strategy could break the Bento Box or whatever, that somebody would push out. That was one concern I was having, but
yeah, it's totally warranted too. And I think what the Abra proposal, one of the points to focus on there is that it's for that asset alone, right? It's not for other assets, and there will be specific whitelisted cauldrons for the asset that they want to execute those strategies on, and nothing outside of those cauldrons will be whitelisted. Now, for future participants, right, or future whitelisted strategy providers, there obviously will need to be a due diligence process. I can anticipate that it'll likely be few and far between, but I think that a good example of how this can be really productive as far as a product is if you go and you look at Balancer, right, their recent success with their AVE boosted pool, right, doing between 100 and 200 million dollars in volume at the height of it over the last month, I think shows that these types of products, people are interested in them, where there's continuity between like the thesis of the main product stack within the project and these external partners that can bring a lot of value while you're also returning value to them. So I think we should continue to go down this route, but obviously risk management, right? Risk management's all of the things. It's not just like capital controls. It's the due diligence process for whitelisting, right? It's the on-chain governance for review. it's something like a high kitchen that can pause strategies if an exploit does happen, right?
Right.
It's all of these processes codified and done in a way that you don't have that. Well, you have the smallest chance of that happening, and if it does happen, that
It's isolated to what they are doing and not affecting anything else.
Exactly.
Ideally, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
That's cool, man. I always felt like the bento box was like such an awesome concept. Just really never got the full servicing that it deserved. At least as far as the strategies went.
100% agree. Like, I think that bento box needs greater unlocking for what it can do. There's somewhat the argument of, like, in UniV4's new infrastructure, that the singleton contract approach is like bento box, right? I saw Twitter threads about it, and then I watched Hayden's break down the podcast or the vlogcast or whatever he did that he was talking about it. And there are a lot of correlations between the two, and it'd actually be interesting to see if within UniV4's launch, if Uniswap as a protocol goes down the path of unlocking like whitelisted opportunities, because there is a ton of idle liquidity sitting on Uniswap at any one time, right?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I think some of this stuff is like going to be in flux more as how do regulations within each jurisdiction, where like, any one crypto product or any crypto product of the industry at whole is offered, like how does it comply or how is it offered? That may influence. I actually think for sure it will influence what products are available where, and it's but it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. And I for one think that that's one of the routes that they're headed down.
You are you still gonna, or are we still looking at doing like a 50-50 ownership of it with them? Are you?
I thought the proposal said 35% strategy fee share back to the DAO treasury.
Right. There's another part about it though, where it said ownership of the bento box would be transferred to a multi-sig that they created.
I think it's the assets, their assets within the bento box that they control. Yeah, look, there are some parts of that, and I haven't read it in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he literally meant like a 50-50 multi-sig with like actual ownership of the contract.
Yeah, I don't know that would happen, to be honest.
That was another thing that kind of concerned me too.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's like every protocol's angling for healthy terms for their place in the market, right? Like, let's not be naive here and think that like WAGMI GM is like, no, this is a competitive market where people are trying to take stances and leverage things to grow their market share. And so, like, is every proposal that comes up wholly passed? No, usually it's whittled down, and like what both sides agree on is what passes. So, like, yeah, I think that there are probably points that need to be more finely articulated.
I just figured the implication, like, to worry about there is, we have projects also that are completely contingent on bento box, like Firo. Even like some pools still use Trident in stable pools and whatnot.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that there is if that's and again, when I get on these AMAs or I'm on space, I pace throughout the house, so I'm not in front of the PC and reading that proposal, but yeah, I could see that being a point that we have to discuss further.
To effectively produce and deploy these strategies, ownership of Bento Box will be transferred to a Bento Box owner that allows Abracadabra to add strategies to the tokens above. Once that happens, Abracadabra become main strategy producer. Sushi's OpSafe would still be able to control all other asset parameters and may transfer or relinquish this control at any point in the future. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why we would need a third multi-sig of, who's on the multi-sig then. I think the way Matt and Jiro and I have discussed this is materially different than the proposal. And, we're chatting with their team back and forth. I don't think that we've gotten to a point yet where well, let's just be honest. I don't think we've agreed on the final terms yet.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would start beating around the bush now, 10 months in, since, I've pretty much given it to people straight since day one. But yeah, I think we're a little bit away from a proposal like this making it through, and I think that actually kind of speaks to like the governance process in general. It's like the ops team again has a mandate from the DAO to do certain things. Those things can't be in conflict with the DAO's best interests. And so people can put anything up for a proposal, right? And I'm not just speaking to Abra, but anyone can post anything as a proposal on the forum. Then it's up to the community and us, right, to discuss these things and find out where we can work together.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think there was. Nothing really much else as far as proposals. I mean, there's one I see here that I was talking about earlier from Chain Site.
Pull that one. It's been a minute since I read
Sushi
that.
swap realized volatility oracle. I'll just go ahead and put that in. We already have it working. This is about analytics, it looks like. And I'm pretty sure that we got our own setup there. Creation and deployment of an asset rating oracle. An oracle that will facilitate near real-time analytics for each token available on-chain, powered by ChainSite. A groundbreaking protocol that brings historical data into the limelight.
So we have built a solution that is in process of being integrated. That does basically this.
Right.
Well, the means are a little bit different, but the end result is the same. And maybe that's a good place to pivot into that kind of chat for the last few minutes about like the product stack, right? And what we've been doing for the last 9 months. And, I will say a significant area where we're focused on improving is external comms, marketing. We recently made a strategic hire for a new head of marketing that has had a lot of success in one of the top 5 crypto companies in the entire world, scaling from startup to billion-dollar status, and so multi-billion-dollar status. So she started recently. We've been going through everything, getting to the playbook and everything put together so that all of these product stack improvements from the route processor in aggregation, V3, the new tokenomics that I'll be posting the proposal update in the next several days on the forum. All of the developments that I think that we've definitely fallen behind in keeping the community informed and I think they can expect to see that change quite significantly going forward. And from now until the end of the year, there's going to be a lot to get excited about, a lot to inform the market about, and really position Sushi as like, just a builder, just building really really great products, increasing capital efficiency within its product stack, distributing that stack throughout the market so we can capture more market share and really start to scale up. The first, like if you go back to January and you read like my Sushi revitalized plan, we've essentially executed about 80% of that on the engineering side. And so now the goal is to, again, effectively communicate those developments, distribute it to the market, get it in people's hands, scale up partnerships where it increases liquidity, it increases protocol offerings so people can trade whatever it is they're wanting to trade on whatever network they want to be on, right? And so that's going to be our focus really going forward. Yeah, I think there's quite a lot to be excited about from now until the end of the year, especially going into the first 1 and 2 quarters of next year when I anticipate the momentum really building.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
Yeah, I haven't joined you on a community AMA in a while, and some of that's just the availability. You know, every day is
and
absolute grind.
Sometimes there's just an extra workload that just gets, slapped right on top of you that you never want in the first place.
Nah, it's fine, man. I love this stuff. I like talking to people about what we're building. It's actually one of the most rewarding parts of this job, any job as a builder, right, or a founder, is sharing with people what you've been busting your ass on, right? So like, but you gotta grind and get to that point where you have something to talk about, and you're not just saying coming soon and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. We did that in January, and we've been grinding for 7 months. Really, actually, several months before that when I first came on and we put that plan together. Then I announced it in January. We're finally to that point where like, hey, most of this is built, or the remaining part of it is in the pipeline and being executed on. Time to go tell people about it.
Yeah, it's good to have something you're proud about in that regard. This makes me think of the joke, the local band says big things coming soon, but never actually. Well,
you got to write good songs, right? And I think that, I am a musician. And so like, I've seen that same kind of thing, and they're like, coming soon, we're doing this. And then they get up and they play and the song's terrible, or the singer's totally out of pitch, or the drummer's off the click, right? And it's like, okay, I don't think if you're using that metaphor that translates here, because the engineering team has absolutely delivered like a stellar stack, some of which people are already using. They just don't know it. Now it's time to talk about it. But yeah, we got about 25% left of the roadmap to ship. But I'm confident these guys will get there.
Yeah, it impresses me daily, man. Like Matt and the other engineering guys, it's like they don't sleep. It's kind of crazy to me how they put so many hours in.
Dude, these guys are absolutely. I mean, for the resources that Sushi has in terms of like financial and personnel, in my opinion, we outperform protocols that if they had the same, I would anticipate we'd be smacking them around in terms of productivity. So yeah, I agree 100%. have any questions from the chat? Let's see.
Not really. If anybody would like to, raise your hand and come on up, talk, feel free. If you'd like to, if you have any feedback you'd like to put in the text channel, please do. Any questions? I'm all ears. I'm good to answer.
Yeah, let's get somebody up here. I know we've got to have at least someone in the chat that's not shy. I see Dusk Knight just joined.
I'm about to say Dusk will come up here.
Yeah, get Dusk
Always.
up here.
Boom.
There you go.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up, man?
What up?
Yeah, just thinking about Sushi Swap and what you guys have been doing with this liquidity is really good. The Polygon liquidity incentives have worked superbly well, but I noticed the optimism hasn't been working as great, and I think that's just because there's not enough like advertisement or awareness. I don't really think people know that there's Sushi incentivized pools on Optimism so much.
Yeah, that's you got to do these things in multi-stages, and it kind of speaks. I mean, this is maybe one of the bandwidth limitations or kind of bottlenecks that we have is the personnel, and so these things get rolled out probably not in a timeline that we all prefer, right? We faster is definitely the name of the game, but I want to say that OP is next on the list, and one of the areas that I've been focusing on is outreach to LPs and V3 market makers like DWF, right, where they're going to come in and
Actually, yeah, that might be not be a bad place for them to seed if they're like looking. I don't know. They could probably.
I'm also looking. I'm
it.
noticing, like, for instance, if I look through announcements here, I see like Yoda tagged everyone on June 4th. He said farming rewards are now live on our concentrated liquidity pools on Polygon, with more chains to come, and that's true because it was live on Polygon. But then I feel like since then they've also added it to Optimism, and I'm scrolling down and I see something about Avalanche. I just don't even see any pings in the announcements about Optimism. So I think that that's why people, I mean, part of it definitely is why people aren't aware of it.
Yeah, agree completely. I think maybe you joined a little bit later or recent in the discussion, but I was talking about.
Yeah, sorry to totally change the topic here. I got put on stage. I was a little bit on the spot.
No, you're good, man. I like the question. It's like, but yeah, because I don't know if you were here when I was talking about it. We made a recent strategic hire over the last couple of weeks for our head of marketing. Bella, who was our previous head of marketing, left a couple of months ago, and so we've been as a team trying to fill that gap. I was trying to kind of create some excitement around her hiring without disclosing, but she was with she was the VP of marketing for one of the top 5 centralized exchanges in the entire world for 3.5 years, and handled all of their multi-product marketing and comms and stuff. So she's been like, she literally started July 3rd, started on 3rd, but has been like, drinking from the fire hose, if you will, of revamping everything and putting together the playbook and the calendar for all these things. So you can definitely expect those types of things not to fall through the crack in the next deployments and as we go forward with her on board.
Yeah, that's really great to hear. And I think that directly relates to what I brought up, is that without a head of marketing or advertising, like it's not like Yoda's main job to advertise, you know what I mean? So yeah, the coordination will definitely improve going forward, I think. And I did see that post. It's really amazing that you guys were able to secure that person for the position.
Yeah, man, I'm super pumped. Like the few meetings that I've had with her already, I'm super confident in the hiring, and I think she's going to bring her A game that will help Sushi kind of shed this stagnant, vibe and get that momentum back that we need. Get people talking about us again in the Twitter sphere, right? In the media, like talking positively about all the things like that engineering has done, upcoming tokenomics that, man, we've been grinding on these things for months, and I've kind of humorously been equating the first January tokenomics proposal almost to psyops, since about 60-70% of the final draft is completely different. We came up with some really cool ideas. I think that.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I think that speaks to innovation as well, because people like it. It's understandable to be in a bear market. A lot of people bought Sushi for a much higher price than it currently is, myself included. And let me just gather myself for a sec.
Well, I take, for multiple reasons, but very price agnostic, more on the utilitarian value that we can present as a protocol, building fundamental momentum as you have more market share and more utility and more people are involved, right? That attracts greater scale, greater market share, and things translate that way. So
I kind of remember. I'm sorry, my brain does this thing sometimes where it's like it's on track, and then like the railroad just disappears. So I was talking about how Sushi's price might not be where we want it necessarily, and also being in that position makes people impatient naturally. If you're in like the red, you just want to be in the green soon. But it speaks to the wisdom of really looking something over rather than trying to rush something out. I mean, it's infinitely better to come out with something with a delay that actually works properly and has a real beneficial impact than it is to rush something out that has holes in it or places of improvement that you know about. It just makes a lot more sense to include things if ideas are presented or improvements could be made.
Yeah, I mean, I think of the utility of tokens, tokenomics as a distribution method for the growth of the protocol, right? And so like when I say like price agnostic, that's what I mean. Like I think of these things as tools to further the adoption of the protocol, because like any market, the price of anything fluctuates with supply and demand. These are basic, economies or economics 101, right? So like that's literally the least thing that you should worry about as a builder. I mean, you shouldn't worry about it all really, other than like it's sometimes a byproduct of the efforts you're putting in at the utility level, right? So it really doesn't cross my mind ever. It's like, how do I improve the fundamental activity that people are trying to accomplish when they come to Sushi, right? So on the engineering side, we got to build a better product, right? People want better pricing. They want a greater selection of assets on more networks. They want to be able to go cross-chain in a secure, efficient way, right? And all of that needs to be first and foremost. And then how does the utility of a token economy or tokenomics help bolster that? Because that's where real value comes from, not just
you've got to have the product first before you can create value for the product. So as Sushi adds utility in all these different ways, being able to add utility and add value to the Sushi token itself will become inherently easier as these new improvements are rolled out and fleshed out also.
Yeah, if that's a product, if that's a byproduct, that's a byproduct,
I'll tell you what, man, being a holder, from above $10 all the way down to here, I'm committed to the mission, man. That's like, it don't even matter to me anymore.
Yeah, look, Bitcoin, right?
I figure, man, if like just looking at the cycle, I don't know, Wyckoff distribution, whatever you want to call it, right? Like it's just a matter of like if we can just get a really good product, that's pretty much like a prophecy to be fulfilled. We'll be back. Token price will be back in the long run.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's
Yeah.
interesting too that we sort of bottomed out or seemingly bottomed. I mean, don't take my word for it. I've said a few times in chat, like I wouldn't be surprised if sushi went to like say 30 cents. But in general, I think things are looking pretty good here. And last bear market in 2020, sushi bottomed at about 60 cents, but there were less sushi tokens in circulation, and that was down from I feel like $8 or $12. It wasn't as bad as being down from 20, but it was still pretty rough. And the protocol was able to batten down the hatches and get through the storm. And I feel like that's a pretty similar thing that'll happen here, because sushi is not alone in this situation. DeFi protocols, like pretty much if it's DeFi, then it's wrecked from. I mean, if you're comparing from all-time highs, a lot of them are up a little bit from the beginning of the year, but you compare almost any DeFi protocol to what their all-time high was, and it's down a huge margin. So yeah, innovation and improving the product is the main thing, and as the market shifts, the market swings, we'll be here, and it'll be a lot easier, I think, for people to actually profit off of the protocol. But not investment advice. I'm just an audience member that likes to talk.
I don't have anything to add or to this conversation. I think it's again, for me, I'm here to help build the best widget, right? And you know, DEXs are. I mean, you could look at the entire space and you could say, if you're not talking about a specific coin or token, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum have the greatest product market fit in that space. Then product-wise, what are the others? Exchanges and DEXs, right? I mean, they're two sides of a similar coin. One's, you know, custodial, and one's decentralized. But I think that Sushi is in a vertical, in the DEX vertical, which is the greatest product market fit that you can have. And so like building a better product translates to more users usually, right? I mean, it's not that cut and dry.
So do you mind if I talk about a way that I noticed? Maybe you've even already heard about this, but I was using Sushi Swap for some concentrated liquidity deposits, and I noticed a couple of things that I think if we could master it, I mean, it's not necessarily easy, but I think just a couple of easy use stuff that if we sort of got to it first would really be a big improvement over what's currently available. You mind if I mention that?
I would actually rather you put that in a DM and send it to me.
Yeah, okay. I've actually already talked to Cabbage about it, and she's probably still like gathering information and whatnot. But if you want, I can DM you it as well, because I think that it's a pretty important thing, and it's kind of an issue that everyone faces regardless of their DEX when trying to use concentrated liquidity pools. So I can just DM you it now if you want.
Yeah, DM me. I see that we have Derek from Steer in here as well, and you know, they're one of our closely aligned partners with improving the efficiency and the UX of our concentrated liquidity products. So like, I can bring them into the fold as well if it touches on their involvement. But yeah, DM me. I think we already have a DM, so shouldn't have any issue.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Gang, I saw you had a question. Although it's more general market one, I suppose. But he's saying BlackRock, Vanguard, and JP Morgan now looking at that Bitcoin ETF. Do you guys believe these investors will start seeking to invest in DeFi? And yeah, I mean, I think yeah, that's kind of a given. But I think like the real question after that is like, how could we connect with them, get that money?
Well, okay, let me back up on this question a little bit. Are they doing, and if yes, okay, so no, I actually don't think that BlackRock, Vanguard, JP Morgan, et cetera, will buy into DeFi using the BTC ETF as a catalyst.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think
I see what you're seeing there.
Yeah, I think that DeFi is in a somewhat of a transformative state right now, and that there are opportunities within the space to serve those customers. I don't know if that is Sushi's customer base. Now, could we as an industry, like DeFi as a whole, benefit from the added liquidity that the large institutional investors bring? For sure. I think that it's a gateway for people who have interest in these products that might not have felt safe before for whatever reason. I mean, Coinbase, in my opinion, is one of the safest products to use in the entire market. It's got some of the simplest UX for just like creating an account, buying, Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. But yeah, I think ultimately the liquidity will feed into the ecosystem. It's a great educational tool as well, right? So like as investors who may have just shunned Bitcoin previously, even, I've been in crypto going on 9 years, and it's like I drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago. I don't think about this stuff, but I still go out and I talk to people. They ask me what I do for a living or whatever, and I tell them a little bit about it. They're like, oh, that seems sketchy, or that seems dangerous, or that, I don't know about that. What these types of investors provide to those types of customers and the rest of really the financial world is security and trust, which is kind of antithetical, right, to like a trustless technology. But it's that educational and proficiency barrier to entry that the majority of people have.
I know people who should not own a MetaMask wallet. Like seriously, like I've tried to educate some people, and they're just like one of my real life buddies. Like God bless him, but he just can't. He just doesn't have the mind for it.
And I actually, I'm a crypto maximalist in that, like, I think the technology's here to stay. I think it's a net positive for self-sovereignty and financial autonomy and all of the really core tenets of what was in the Bitcoin white paper. Is that they're kind of like rooted in libertarianism, which is what I've been my entire life as a libertarian. And so like I believe in freedom with a capital F, right? And so like I think that there will, though, be a segmentation of this market for quite a long time, where you have people that use the kind of look, ma, no handlebars part of crypto, which is like DeFi, meta, all of the cool things that we like and that we're building. And then the custodial kind of Web 2-esque, banking version of crypto, which is the Coinbase and products like these ETFs. So I think you're going to have that segmentation, and trying to just jam them all together is just not going to work. You're going to get the customers that you educate or that educate themselves trickling into DeFi. So yeah, dude, this is all a net benefit. Bring everybody in, scale this thing up. Let's get to a $50 trillion industry.
Jane, you come on up, man. What's up, buddy?
Background noises.
Yeah, you're a little spotty, but I hear you.
Oh, right. I was basically just wanting to interject. I just saw something. It sounds completely unrelated. It's about the marijuana business that Thailand just legalized it in its entirety. And in Bangkok, they got something like 18 to 20 million residents. And And it sounds like there's so much money to be made. The country finally legalized it because it's just missing out. It's being adopted from Spanish. And parallel to that is I see Bitcoin when it comes to government intervention, same situation that a lot of just governments throughout the country have become less friendly with crypto because they see certain threats with it, but at the same time there's too many benefits to offset it. And not that you should look at Bitcoin or crypto in the same illicit use as drugs, but just on the financial perspective that marijuana is finally being adopted throughout the whole planet. And that's where I see not so much Bitcoin, but the other altcoins that are kind of being shunned through the SEC and others, that there's going to be too much functional use. And that as long as places like Sushi, Uniswap stays available and weather the storm, there's going to come a time where the use is going to be too apparent, and then friendly hands with institutional money are going to come asking for assistance, and that's where the big money will be made. I think
Yeah, man.
it's strong.
For me, if we're gonna liken it like that, I think like the big linchpin is taxes, right? Like that's really what they would want at the end of the day. And I think that's like when, sanctions for mass adoption would start coming in with the regulation. I mean,
But it's all a matter of time. You got more countries that are going away from physical currency to digital. And that's where the people that don't understand MetaMask, I have families that can't really get some of these things that seem simple to us. They're going to realize when they're getting hit up for whatever reason, or simple things like you want to pay a babysitter, buy something on Facebook Marketplace, and all of a sudden it's getting taxed because they don't have physical currency.
oh yeah, they could use Coinbase though. I mean, like centralized exchanges, like my buddy can manage using Coinbase for sure, like pretty competently. Because like, I guess it's like really the app, right? Like a lot of this stuff, like just the blockchain stuff in general, MetaMask, right? And like looking at like these hexadecimal hashes on messages. That's really the confusing part. Like all of that should be obfuscated, like to a simple UI, right?
Yeah.
Good user experience.
I also think that people think about the progression of like revolutionized or revolutionary tech or renaissance in technology or some portion of human civilization like finance happening overnight because our own biases like that because we're early adopters and we're excited or we have a financial interest in that the favorable outcome that we want it to happen now because humans just are as a whole very impatient. This is going to take 10 to 25 years like from now. This isn't going to be in 5 years like a $50 trillion industry. It's just not going to happen. I mean, look, we're what 12 years in, 13 years in now, really, with like the idea of Bitcoin and crypto, and you're just now getting to the point of let's just say what it is, like relevance, right? And it's going to take another 10, 25 years before you get to that point. I mean, you think about the same iterative process that like computing had to go through, right?
Yeah.
Where you vacuum tube, the first vacuum tube computer, right, to the first home PC, then the iterative process to get that down into a handheld device. Then the last, let's see, 2000, so 20 years, 19 years, 18 years-ish of handheld device innovation, like to get to the point where now literally the last 60 years of computing has gotten to the point where you've reached literally mass distribution.
Yeah, it's a little scrying mirror in your pocket now, pretty much. Yeah.
So we got a long ways to go, but like the journey is like I'm having a blast. I mean, it should be fun. Like doing this stuff should be fun and exciting, and You get to be part of history. Like, how many times in the course of like human civilization do you literally get to take part in some net positive outcome for humanity? It's literally what this is. Like, if you want to get a little bit corny, that's literally what this stuff is, right?
Hopefully.
Oh man, you gotta get more positive, man.
Nah, dude. Governments ruin everything. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
To throw it out there, look at Rockefeller had kerosene and didn't want electricity in homes because it was making too much money powering people's houses on kerosene, even though it was burning them down. But eventually got adopted.
Exactly, man. What's that famous saying? Actually, I have a call I got to jump on, but I'll leave you all with the famous saying, like, you cannot, and we see it all the time in crypto, but you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. And we were clearly at that point where crypto's time has come. And I think that you start to really see with these ETF filings, that growth that everybody had kind of been waiting. Now, it's going to take another decade or two to get to the market cap we want, but I think it's all positive, man. I'm excited. I got to jump, guys. Great chatting with everybody.
No, I think that's a good note to leave off on. I'm excited too, man. Thank you everyone for coming out today.
So much.
Yeah, you got a good hour and a half.
I did send you those DMs, Jared. Whenever you have free time.
I'll check it out, man.
All right, have a great one. Nice talking with you.
See you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it all.